The worst kind of failure is the one that looks like success. I didn't read that in a book. I lived it. There was a time when everything looked like it was working. Doors opened, people applauded, the numbers were growing. But deep inside, something was dying. And I didn't know why. I prayed for success, and I got it. But what I didn't realize was that I was building something big on a foundation that couldn't hold it. I had confused achievement with alignment. I thought movement meant progress. I assumed the results were proof of God's approval until everything paused. And in that silence, I began to see what I hadn't seen before. God never called us to chase success. He called us to follow Him, and sometimes the biggest mistake isn't in failing, it's in succeeding at the wrong thing. In this video, I'm not here to give you more strategies, more formulas, or more goals to chase. I want to take you into the places God took me, places where He revealed not just what I was doing wrong, but why it was costing me more than I knew. If you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things but something still feels off, this message is for you, because what I discovered changed how I see success forever. And by the end of this video, you'll discover the biggest mistakes Christians make about success so you never have to repeat them. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Leave a comment below with your city or country. And if you believe you're ready to receive God's blessings, drop the number 7 in the comments, symbolizing prosperity and blessings. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who could also be blessed. Let's map together where the fire of the Spirit is reaching and bringing prosperity. There was a time when I thought being seen meant being successful. I chased platforms, applause, validation, thinking that if people noticed me, maybe God did too. I measured my worth by how many watched, followed, invited. But the more visible I became, the more invisible I felt to myself. My heart was shrinking in the spotlight. I had confused influence with intimacy, popularity with purpose. Until one night, I read Matthew 6:6, "Go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." That verse silenced me. I realized I had been chasing rewards that fade. God sees what no stage ever will. And His favor isn't tied to who applauds but to who obeys. That truth wrecked me. I began to withdraw from the noise. I stopped performing and started listening. And in the secret place, I found something more precious than recognition, rest, identity, clarity. Now I understand success isn't measured by who sees you, but by how deeply you're seen by God. Some of His greatest vessels were hidden for years. Because real power doesn't need a spotlight. It needs surrender, and in that surrender, I found everything I was looking for. For a long time, I believed the lie that true purpose had to look like ministry on a stage. I thought that if I wasn't holding a microphone or preaching the gospel full-time, then maybe my work didn't matter to God, so I pushed down the dreams He placed in my heart: business, design, leadership, because they didn't feel spiritual enough, but the silence in my soul grew louder than any sermon I could pretend to preach. Then one day I stumbled on Colossians 3:23. "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord." That changed everything. God doesn't divide sacred and secular. He sees faithfulness in every field. A teacher shaping hearts, a mother raising prophets, an entrepreneur funding kingdom work. I started asking Him to show me how He wanted to move through my ordinary days. And I saw Him at my desk, in the emails, in conversations that didn't mention His name but carried His presence. Success isn't about where you serve, it's about who you're serving through it. The kingdom isn't just built in pulpits. It's built in boardrooms, kitchens, classrooms. My purpose didn't become less holy because it wasn't traditional. It became more powerful because it was fully surrendered. I stopped trying to escape my assignment and began to embrace it. And in that space, God breathed life into everything I thought He didn't care about. I asked God for things I wasn't ready for. I begged him to open doors, but I had no idea what to do if he actually did. I prayed for platforms, but ignored the process. I wanted visibility, but lacked the character to sustain it. One day, while fasting and frustrated, I opened to Proverbs 24:27, "Prepare your work outside. Get everything ready for yourself in the field, and after that build your house." That verse struck me like a warning and a whisper at the same time. I was trying to build without preparation, and God, in His mercy, was withholding what I couldn't yet carry. Success without structure collapses. Anointing without maturity can become idolatry. So He slowed me down not to punish me, but to protect me. I started to prepare in secret. Study more, serve more, repent more, heal what I tried to hide, build foundations no one could see, and in that quiet season, God began to trust me with more. Not because I was perfect, but because I was ready. I learned that the delay wasn't denial, it was mercy. God doesn't just want to give you success, He wants you to keep it, carry it, and reflect Him through it. And now, I no longer ask for blessings I'm not willing to prepare for. I ask for the grace to grow before the I used to think success was about producing results, metrics, numbers, visible outcomes. I measured my worth by what I achieved and how fast I achieved it. I worked tirelessly, always busy, always building, but never truly resting. I thought I was being faithful, but I wasn't following, I was performing. One day, I stumbled on Genesis 12, where God tells Abraham to go to the land I will show you, not a 5-year plan. No roadmap, just obedience. That verse unraveled me. Abraham's success wasn't in the outcome, it was in his obedience. And suddenly, I saw it clearly. I was chasing what only obedience could lead me to. I wanted the fruit without following the root, so I paused. I asked God, where are you going? Where are you asking me to step? And I followed even when it didn't make sense. Even when the numbers didn't grow. Even when it looked like I was going backwards. And in that surrender, I found peace. Real success isn't about how far you go, it's about whether you're going where God is leading. The most dangerous success is the one you reach without Him, because you'll get there and realize He's not in the room. But when He leads, every step, no matter how slow, carries eternal weight. I'd rather walk 1 mile in obedience than run 1,000 without Him. There's a kind of pain that comes from waiting, and a deeper pain that comes from moving too soon. I've felt both. I once prayed for acceleration, desperate to see results. I was tired of being hidden, tired of preparing. So I pushed ahead, convinced I was stepping out in faith, but what I was really doing was trying to outrun the silence of God. And I paid for it. Doors that opened early became burdens. Opportunities turned to pressure. I had asked for blessings, but received battles I wasn't ready to fight. Then I read Psalm 27:14, wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage, wait for the Lord. I broke. I finally understood that waiting isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's not inactivity, it's trust. David was anointed king, but he still served in caves before he sat on the throne. God's timing is part of His design. When I embraced the wait, I grew in ways I never could have if I had rushed. He wasn't holding me back, He was building my roots, preparing me to carry the very thing I was praying for. Now, I don't fear delay. I fear stepping out before I'm ready. Because a destiny reached out of season can become a weight instead of a reward. And I've learned to trust that if God says not yet, it's always for a reason. Comparison was my silent enemy. It didn't shout, it whispered, and I listened. I'd scroll through social media and feel behind. I'd hear someone else's testimony and question my own. I measured my pace by someone else's path, and I called it motivation, but it wasn't, it was poison. Slowly stealing my joy, my clarity, and my peace. I kept asking, why them? Why not me? Until one morning, in frustration, I read John 21:22. Jesus told Peter, if I want him to remain until I return, what is that to you? You follow me. Those words pierced my spirit. It was like Jesus was speaking directly to me. Stop watching their race. Run yours. That moment shattered every lie. I realized the mistakes I'd been making, believing someone else's timeline should be mine, thinking delay meant denial, comparing their fruit without living their sacrifice, assuming visible success meant favor, feeling small when others grew. Each of those lies had robbed me of gratitude for where I was. God doesn't work in copies. He writes unique stories, and when I stopped comparing, I started growing. I saw beauty in my pace, strength in my preparation. Success isn't about arriving first, it's about arriving faithful. Now I celebrate others without losing myself. I've learned that peace is found not in catching up, but in catching his voice again. There was a time when I despised where I was. Everything felt too small, too slow, too hidden. I believed I was made for more, but what I held in my hands didn't look like a calling, it looked like delay. I wanted impact, but I was folding chairs. I wanted platforms, but I was stuck behind the scenes. And I started to question if God had really called me at all. Until one day I read Zechariah 4:10, "Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin." That verse wrecked me. God wasn't disappointed with my small start, he was rejoicing over it. I had been asking for fruit but ignoring the seed. In his kingdom, everything begins as a seed. The manger didn't look like the start of a king, a shepherd boy didn't look like royalty. But heaven sees what we call too small as sacred beginnings. That day, I changed. I started showing up with excellence where no one was watching. I cleaned, served, prayed, and gave like it was a palace. And little by little, something holy began to grow. Because God doesn't build fast, he builds deep. And what grows slow lasts. Now I know. The size of the beginning doesn't define the size of the destiny. It only proves if we're faithful enough to carry it when it comes. There was a time when I thought if it was hard, it wasn't God. I believed blessing was supposed to feel effortless, smooth doors, fast growth, instant favor. So when I hit resistance, I panicked. I assumed I had taken a wrong turn. But one night, while questioning everything, I opened my Bible to James 1:2-4. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And suddenly, I saw it. Struggle isn't punishment, it's preparation. God wasn't trying to break me. He was trying to build me. Every delay had shaped my patience. Every closed door had sharpened my discernment. Every no had refined my desire. The fire didn't consume me, it purified me. But I had to stop seeing discomfort as a sign of failure. Even Jesus wrestled in Gethsemane. Paul was shipwrecked and stoned. David ran for his life long before he wore a crown. Struggle is not the absence of God, it's often the proof of his hand shaping you. Now, when the path gets hard, I no longer assume I'm off track. I ask, Lord, what are you forming in me here? And the answer is always something eternal. True success isn't found in ease, it's found in endurance. There was a moment I'll never forget when I got exactly what I prayed for and still felt hollow. I had reached a goal, the door had opened. The opportunity was real, but inside, there was no peace, no joy, just exhaustion and a quiet ache. That moment terrified me, because I realized I had pursued the dream harder than I pursued God. I wanted the promise more than the presence, and that imbalance nearly cost me everything. Then I remembered John 15:5, apart from me, you can do nothing. It wasn't just a reminder. It was a rescue. I dropped everything. I went back to the secret place. I prayed not for results, but for him, and in that stillness I rediscovered the success that doesn't need to be seen. Peace returned, joy returned, not because of what I accomplished, but because he was near again. The greatest mistake we can make is to reach the top and realize God isn't there with us. Real success isn't in the numbers, the platform, or the applause. It's in walking closely with the one who called you. If his presence doesn't go with me, I don't want it. I've learned success without God is just noise, but success with Him is everything. Now I see it clearly. Success isn't always a blessing. Sometimes it's a test, and I almost failed it, not because I didn't achieve what I asked for, but because I forgot to ask if it was what He wanted for me. I've learned that real success is quieter than we think. It looks like obedience when no one's watching, like peace in the middle of a storm, like choosing purpose over platform, like saying yes to God when success says, "Not now." I wish someone had told me this sooner. That striving can feel holy, that noise can feel anointed, that applause can feel like affirmation, and still, you can be completely out of alignment. But grace met me, in the hidden place, in the pause, in the hard questions, and now I carry a different kind of hunger, not to be seen, but to be centered, not to win fast, but to walk faithfully. If this word reached you, if it stirred something inside your spirit, I invite you to leave a simple comment below. I choose real success, not just to engage, but as a step, a response. Sometimes that's all it takes for a shift to begin. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to keep walking this journey with you. Because the truth is, there's more. More clarity, more healing, more kingdom, and the next video might be the one that unlocks what you've been praying for.